If I could go back in time.
If I could go back in time. If I could go back in time, I would've never told you yes. I would've walked right past your love and saved myself the stress. If I knew then what I know right now, you never would've been mine. I would change every single moment if I could go back in time. When you walked up and asked me for my name, I would've kept on walking and never entertained. When you asked for my number with that smile on your face, I would've said no, thank you, and went the other way. When you called and asked if you could come over that night to watch a couple movies and spend a little time, I would've locked my door and turned off every light, because letting you come inside changed the rest of my life. Every yes that I gave you became another reason I cried. Had I known who you really were, I would've never let you inside. If I could go back in time, when you asked me on that first date, I would've looked you in your eyes and told you no, I'm not available today. If I could go back in time, when you asked if you could come over and watch movies, I would've closed the door before your love had the chance to confuse me. When you offered to pay my bills and promised that you would always make sure I was doing fine, I would've paid them all myself, because accepting your help gave you a doorway into my life. I would change every conversation, every invitation, every time you asked and I replied, until you became somebody that I never met, somebody I could pass without recognizing. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't just change how our relationship ended. I would go all the way back to the day you approached me, and make sure it never began. I would've said no, 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 no. Every time you asked, I would've said no. I would've said no, 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 until your face was one I didn't know. When you said, let me take you somewhere nice, would've trusted my spirit instead of your lies. When you said you were different and begged for a chance, I would've listened to the warning that I felt in advance. I would erase our first kiss and the first night we touched, erase every moment that made me fall in love. I would take back my loyalty, my body, and my trust, because knowing you now showed me love was never enough. I would save every tear that I wasted asking you why I went through the pain of never knowing you, over barely surviving good. If I could go back in time, when you asked me on the first date, I would've looked you in your eyes and told you no, I'm not available today. If I could go back in time, when you asked if you could come over and watch movies, I would've closed the door before your love had the chance to confuse me. When you offered to pay my bills and promised that you would always make sure I was doing fine, I would've paid them all myself, because accepting your help gave you a doorway into my life. I would change every conversation, every invitation, every time you asked and I replied, until you became somebody that I never met, somebody I could pass without recognizing. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't just change how our relationship ended. I would go all the way back to the day you approached me, and make sure it never began. I wouldn't change the breakup, I would change the introduction. I wouldn't change your apology, I would prevent the destruction. I wouldn't ask you to love me better, I would never let you love me at all. I would go back to the first hello and never answer your call. I would've said no before I ever loved you, before I ever trusted you. I would've said no until your face disappeared from my mind. You wouldn't be a memory. If I could go back in time, if I could go back in time, I would change every answer that eventually gave you access to my heart and my life. I would refuse every day, ignore every call, decline every offer, and never let you spend one single night by my side. When you offer offer to pay my bills. I would've told you that my peace was worth much more than anything your money could ever provide. I would rewrite every moment so completely that today you could walk right past me, and neither one of us would recognize the other side. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't ask you to become a better man. I would make sure I never met you, never loved you, never gave you a chance. I wouldn't change the ending, I would erase the beginning. When you asked for my name, I would've kept walking. When you asked for my number, I would've said no. When you asked to come over, I would've closed the door. I know who you are now, so if I could go back in time,